Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 2960 and Doubleshot number 2854. We got two horror-based trades, mind you. They both feature Abel in some sort of form fashion, which I'll talk about the reason why for that. First of which we have The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, book number 3. I think this is going to be, this was like the penultimate book because I think the book didn't last much longer. I think it was like about 17 more issues. I think it's like one more after this one. So this book collects 38 to 56 plus Vertigo Preview number 1. The artwork in these issues, of course Neil Gaiman does the writing here obviously, art by Jill Thompson, Vincent Locke, John Wakas, Shia, Anton Panissa, Tony Harris, met this guy, that's going to be in person, Brian Tobit, Dick DiGeno, Michael Zoli, Gary Amaro, Steve LaLauria, Duncan Eggleston, P.K. Russell, Alex Stevens, Michael Aldred, Mark Buckingham, and Kent Williams. Yeah, this is something though, of all these artists, I've only met one, and that's Tony Harris. So, mostly put this, like I said, because like Sandman, volume 2 issues, already 3856. So, I think this first thing is from the preview thing, the Vertigo preview, where it just focuses on Morpheus, drawn by Kent Williams, where he just looks like some weird stuff, and then move on to the main book itself. Issue number 38. Now, in case you're curious, though, like, what issues of the review for this book I'm going to cover? Well, for the Sandman, meet me your dream. Yes, I've heard the song. So, okay, so it's only going to be just a few issues, mostly, anyways. So, the first set of issues is basically like we have an old man telling his granddaughter a story about a woodsman. It's like a fairy tale type story, and they go like through time. And the story itself reminds me a little bit of Fables by Bill Willingham. That's what this issue reminds me of, Bill Willingham stuff. We also have about a book, and Morpheus having this book, and of course his butler's here too. And then the very next book, this is kind of weird. So, we continue the whole desert thing in here. But I'm going to talk a little about the air stuff in here, but after this whole story with this, like, the very next issue is Lila Hall talking with her son Daniel, which puts him down for like just to lie him down, possibly for a nap. And of course, she's on the phone with possibly a friend of hers, and then Daniel proceeds to go to sleep, and then he gets out of his crib somehow and walks over to a wall, and the wall becomes some fantasy thing. He pulls in some creature. He ends up at this house. I should point out, though, he's like 1 or 2 at this point. He's like crawling. I'd say almost 1. So, yeah. So, he goes and meets, I think this is Abel. So, I think this might be the House of Secrets, possibly. We see his brother Cain, the man who murdered him at one point. Yep. And then we see a story with, the whole thing with Adam and Eve, where it looks like Eve just came. The way it's shown here, looks like Eve just comes out of Adam. Like, what? Yeah. Actually, it's not Eve, it's Lilith. And they say she was Adam's first wife. That's mostly apocryphal, mostly, and then it becomes like a kiddie story. You have Morpheus with his sister Lady Death. It's a fun little story here. And then we go to an island where get this. A guy puts a flyer on the grave of Lady Joanna Constantine. Who is this person? She's John Constantine's ancestor. Yes, because Neil Gaiman likes to use other people's characters. I don't think I will more mind this at all, him expanding on his stuff. And of course we have, I think this guy's supposed to be the head thing. I think that's supposed to be Sandman. I think this is Morpheus' son. A bit of goth stuff here, of course, with Lady Death herself. I've heard of Lady Death because basically that's what the comic tends to refer to. That's what other people refer to as. I just refer to that because basically she's the embodiment of death. Yeah. I know I said it was accepted at some point, but basically I'm just continue to talk about a little bit of stuff. So we have a lot of really good content here with this book. But I should point out, it's an adult book. We also have more parodies by Lady Death. But it's an overall really good story here. But I give this book roughly 9 out of 10. But mind you, I only recommend this book for adults because the content is very much stuff associated with Vertigo. And yes, I do know Vertigo just came back recently. Was announced at near Comic-Con. I wasn't there for that, but I did hear about it online. That Vertigo's coming back, and Nice House with a Like by James IV is the first book we published this thing. And they're publishing alongside Black Label. At least Vertigo keeps up on time. Black Label has this thing where they publish a book and we have to wait about 4 or 5 months for the next issue. Yeah. Next up we have is Showcase presents The House of Secrets, which contains issues 81-98. Those of you curious about the previous issues before this, from what I read, those were hosted by Eclipso. Yeah, those were his issues. This is basically back to Horror Roots as title. And this cover here is from issue 92. I'll get to that. So mostly put, these are stories by various horror stories by very, very popular creators. We have people like Marv Wolfman, no surprise there. We also have Neil Adams, Mike Frederick, Jerry Conway, Bill Durant. Let's see, you also have Dick Dillon. Marvin does a lot of the writing here with Lean Ween. Jack Kirby does the story here. Bernie Wrightstein. Those of you curious, people who work in this book, who I personally met, who worked on stories published in this very book. I've met Jerry Conway. I've met Neil Adams. I have met Bernie Wrightstein. That's it. I never met Lean before he passed away. He's one of those guys I miss mentioning him. Yeah. But okay, let's talk about issue 92. 92 is the debut of Swamp Thing, where it's a different interpretation we think of nowadays with him. Yeah, this Swamp Thing here, you seen the cover? You think, ooh, is that Alec Holland? Nope. That is Alex Olsen, the original Swamp Thing. Yep. He is technically the first publication of Swamp Thing, despite the fact the most popular one tends to be Alec Holland. There have technically been about 4 different Swamp Things over the years. You have Alex Olsen, obviously, the long runner with Alec Holland, who is people they think of. We have his daughter Tuffy Holland, and the version created by Ram V, who appeared a few times since the end of his series, which was actually sent to do really good sales. I think his name is Levi Kemi. I think his name is. Yes. Now a lot of the stories in here. Now Now there's also like previews for like House of Mystery, which is hosted by Kane, Abel's brother. Abel doesn't show up until about a few issues into this. What was published here. That's when Abel shows up. Kane pops up here. One issue in here. We'll get this. It's like, I think I'll pop over to House of Mystery and do some witching hour stuff. Yeah, basically it sets up his appearances in those books. House of Secrets, a little fun fact about the house itself. I believe this is the very house where I think the Secret Six basically had the various operations out of this place. Let me take a look about that, because I think that's the case here. Because at one point in the Just Like Dark title, they had it where the two houses merged to form the House of Wonders. Let's see. Yeah, 81 was the debut of the house itself. Yeah, I was right. Where it was the base operations for the Secret Six. The House of Mystery, I believe this one was the base operations for Justice League Dark. And the house itself would be primarily features book. Abel didn't show up to like a little bit into this book, but once, of course, it showed up in House Secrets 81, it was probably featured for a little while, then skipped some appearances, but would occasionally be featured in the book. But it's overall really good stuff here. I love the whole stuff with Abel, the fact that he is like just in charge of stuff. And believe it or not, Abel himself, this was not his debut. He made his debut in 1943 in a comic known as Picture Stories from the Bible, Old Testament, number 3. That was his debut appearance. Adam himself, basically, well, his father, would also be featured like once in Sandman in a flashback. Yeah. His mother, Eve, also featured in this book. Eve would actually take over the book known as The Secrets of Sinister House, but wasn't as successful as the other books per se. No. And a lot of the time, basically, Abel will be so afraid. Not afraid of his brother, per se. Mostly put, basically, he just afraid of other stuff here. But House of Secrets is an excellent book. Will I ever read more of House Secrets? Yes. Oh, and in case you're curious though, what was the first issue that Abel appeared in person in the book that you actually saw him? Well, it was not issue 81. No. I remember seeing it, but he appeared a little bit later, but yeah, he is a primary character in this book. Yep. Yeah, and also the host of The Witching Hour. Yes. Yeah, The Witching Hour comic book. Yeah. She also appeared in this book too. Because I know one of these witches basically did appear in House Secrets. I'm trying to figure out who actually... was it Mordred? It may have been Mordred. Because I remember basically they had a character from this book who appeared in these very issues. I remember that. Now, in case you're curious to who did the original Swamp Thing story, that was definitely Lee Wein and Bernie Wrightstein. They did the original story. Yeah, it's very much like a horror-ish story where he's like a. The whole thing with Alex Olsen is that, well, it's like he's like a uncaring monster in a way. In some ways, he's a partial. The way he's written here is almost like he's a bit of a rip-off a little bit of Man-Thing from Marvel Comics. Yeah, and here's the thing. After this one appearance, no one saw this guy again until Swamp Thing 33 by Alan Moore. Which, I should point out, though, that they used the cover from that very issue for the story. But that came out in 1985. And this first issue came out in 1971. So, 14 years passed by between appearances. Now, those of you probably thinking, why in the world what was there like a gap? I honestly don't know why, per se, because the only person I can maybe ask of why that he appeared in the Swamp Thing ongoing series, if I would take a guess, I can't ask Lee Wein that. Nope. Because, well, he and Bernie Wrightstein passed away 7 years ago. So there's no way I can ask them that. The only person I can possibly ask why he appeared in the book is Alan Moore. But I've never met Alan Moore. He's the only person I could ask about this. I will talk to Jerry Conway about this book, but overall, this book is just amazing. A lot of just really good horror stories. Like, here are the stories in this very book. There is, from issue 81, the three sources, one. Don't Move It! This is Mike Frederick and Jerry Gordon. The Hollows of Secrets, with the artwork by my builder. No writer here. This is Jerry Conway, the third story. Aaron Phillips, photo finish. Epilogue, 82. Welcome to the House of Secrets. Realer Than Real. Runner-up does the writing here, does the artwork here, but no credit for writer. Basically, this one does not have credit for. Only one of the stories to get credit for a writer, and that's the one and only fully guaranteed super permanent 100%. Yes. There's also Madness, The Old Winemaker. The other stories are The Stuff the Dream's Made Of, Bigger Than Bread Box, The House of Endless Years, If I Had a World, Enough Time, Double or Nothing, The Unbelievable, The Unexplained, If I Should Die Before I Wake. There is the People Live in Glass House. This is namely but Don Heck. Reggie Rabbit, Headcliff Cog, Archibald Aardvark, J. Benson Baboon, and Bedroom and Dance. This is leaving Ralph Reese. House of Wax, Second Chance. The Golden Tower of the Sun, The Battle of Little Joe, Day of Doomsday, and The Darkness and Light. Death Has Marble Lips. The Man. The Coming of God. This is Raymond Harris's writing of this one. Let's see. Morning Ghost. Eyesore. Where Dead Men Walk. A Taste of Dark Fire. The Distant Dome. The Symbiotes. No, nothing with the Marvel Comics. This is Marv Wolfman, Rich Buckler. Jedediah. This is Mike Frederick. Eagle's Talon. Wally with this writing is the artwork of this one. Realm of Mystics. Please don't cry, Johnny. There are two of me and one must die. Swamp Thing. That's the debut of the original Swamp Thing, Alec Holland. After I Die. This is by Jack Kirby. I think this is the only story he did for the book. And Mark Ever and Bill Delaware on the artwork. It's Better to Give. Virgin North. Trick or Treat. Art by Dick Dillon. Lonely in Death by Steve Skeets and Jim Aparo. And Abel's Fables. Illustrated by Sergio Argentinos. The Curse of the Cattle's. This is originally published in Mike and Fincher 85. Curse of Cattle's Cradle. Nightmare. Beast from the Box. Abel's Fables. Never Kill Witch's Son. Man My Face. Hide and Go Seek. The Day Nobody Died. Trick of the Invisible Beast, A Bottle of Incense, A Whiff of the Past, Creature, Things That Go Bump in the Night, Realm of Mystics, Day of Dooms, this is Ling Wei and Jack Spring, The Last Sorcerer, The Phantom of the Flames, Bride of Death, A World for a Witch, The Great Brain Swap, It Be It So Ever Humble, The Monster, Indestructible Man. Some of these ones basically are reprints, like from Tales Unexpected and My Greatest Adventures before Doom Patrol showed up. The Curse of Morbid Castle, Divided Murder, Tomb of Ramos, Day After Doom is another one. Dead Man's Diary, this is House Mystery 46, reprinted that one. Domain of the Damned, Born Losers, Secret Hero of Central City, Night Train Doesn't Stop Here Anymore, this is Lee and Mark Roy, Veil Superstition, and Happy Birthday Hermit. That should serve this one. It's a pretty good book. Give this book an 8, 9 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that's particularly a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do this like button. Will I review House Mystery? Yes. I really want to review that one. Okay, but see you in the next video, which is probably going to be around half. Bye.